Welcome to the deep dive. You know, there's a quote from Walt Whitman I keep coming back to. I no doubt deserved my enemies, but I don't believe I deserved my friends.
That hits home, doesn't it? It really captures that sense of wonder, maybe even surprise, we feel about true friendship.
Exactly, that feeling, that appreciation for the people who, well, choose us. That's what we're getting into today. We're doing a deep dive into female friendship, ambition, all those unexpected life turns, using With Friends Like These as our guide.
Right, and the mission here is to look at how these friendships, these vital connections, actually form, what tests them, what makes them last, or sometimes what makes them break.
We're focusing on four women. Chloe, Talia, Quincy, and Jules. Their lives crossed paths in where else, Manhattan. And for Chloe, arriving there, it felt as foreign as Marraket. She wasn't just apartment hunting, she was looking for, a home for friends.
Which is such a universal feeling, isn't it? That search for belonging, especially when you're dropped into a place that feels huge and overwhelming.
Absolutely. So she teams up with Talia, who's a bit more street smart, for this pretty grueling apartment search. And it's right there, amidst the peeling paint and potential of this big rent-controlled place, that Jules makes this declaration.
Ah, yes, the prophetic line. Something tells me we're all going to be great friends.
That's the one. And that promise, made almost on a whim it seems, becomes the foundation for everything that follows over the next decade. We're going to unpack that promise.
See how it holds up under pressure.
Exactly. So if you've ever wondered about your own friendships, what holds them together, what pulls them apart, especially when ambition and loyalty clash well, this deep dive is definitely for you.
It's fascinating how fast those first connections happen in the story. You have these four women, basically strangers,
Right.
coming together over this really practical need, finding a place to live in this, pretty intimidating city. And it's amazing how one person, Jules in this case, with her bold move, essentially carves out the space for a whole decade of friendship.
Yeah, it's more than just finding roommates. It's like finding your tribe just when you need one. And those early days, searching for the apartment, really show this. Chloe and Talia walking up Broadway. Chloe's feeling overwhelmed, even though she grew up nearby, while Talia seems, well, more composed.
Like she knows the ropes.
Kind of. And they look at, 14 possibilities, each wrong in its own dreary way, before they find the place.
The rent-controlled gem.
Yeah, this big apartment. And Chloe's hesitant at first, but then she sees this ancient, spotless, deep clawfoot tub and gets these few bubbles of optimism.
A little detail, but it signifies hope, right? A potential for comfort.
Totally. It's how even practical stuff gets loaded with emotional meaning about the future you want.
And then there's Quincy Peterson, the owner. Inherited it in a divorce. Her comment about her ex, guilt's the ultimate motivator, is a nice little hint, isn't it? About the mix of motives, often behind things.
It really is. And then boom, Jules Marco arrives. She doesn't hold back.
No filter.
Right. Complains about the neighborhood. Junkies? No. Dislikes the paint color. But then, instead of backing off, she just tells Quincy, rent it to us. I have a feeling about us.
It's such a decisive moment, just cuts through all the uncertainty.
Incredible boldness. And that single act, really, it seals the deal, turns this shared need into the actual start of their friendship. It shows how one person's confidence can, make community happen.
Okay, so that's the beginning. But let's jump forward a bit because the real tests are coming.
Oh, yeah. The initial harmony starts to fray when individual ambitions kick in. Take Quincy. Years later, after 2 miscarriages, she's desperate for a real home with her husband, Jake. Those nesting hormones are real for her.
And the Central Park West apartment she finds, it's more than just bricks and mortar.
Definitely. It's a fixer-upper, sure, but it has that silvery vista, the champagne view. It's everything she wants. A place for kids, for her novel, for security.
And the co-op board interview sounds brutal. Being told to be white bread, channel Nicole Kidman.
All while hiding pregnancy nausea and dodging questions about potential little blues. It just shows how much emotional weight is tied up in these seemingly practical steps.
Huge stakes for her personally.
And this intense desire leads straight into a major betrayal. Jules, who was supposed to be helping Quincy, she shares the details of this dream apartment with her boyfriend, Arthur Weiner. And Arthur, he turns around and tries to snatch it, puts in his own offer.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And Jules' justification.
Well, she kind of rationalizes it, right? Thinks, wasn't real estate an open market like love, war, and corporate expense accounts? Basically, whoever's cleverest wins.
Oof. That's a tough one. It really makes you think, doesn't it? How easily loyalty to a friend can get tangled up with, personal gain or loyalty to a partner.
It really does. Where do you draw the line? How do you justify things to yourself?
Exactly. And we see a similar kind of internal conflict, maybe quieter, in Talia. She earns a good salary, heftier than Chloe's even. But she still feels this, like, third world country insecurity compared to her friends. That sense of relative deprivation, it's powerful.
And that fuels her ambition. She ends up interviewing for a job with Winters Jonas, a job referred by Arthur Weiner, ironically.
Oh, wow.
And it's basically the job that everyone knew was meant for Chloe. Talia feels guilty, calls herself Mean Maxine in her head, but she goes for it anyway.
That internal struggle, pursuing your own goals even when it feels like it's at a friend's expense,
Ugh.
that's incredibly relatable, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, Chloe's on her own journey, trying this mojo maker coaching, aiming to be Chloe the Conqueror, embracing traditional femininity.
Trying to find some control, maybe.
Seems like it. But then her world just collapses. She finds out about her husband Xander's my husband's crime. It leads to financial ruin, massive marital strain. They end up in a tiny sublet, basic stuff missing.
So any sense of control she was building just shatters. You put all these threads together, Quincy's desperate hope, Jules' betrayal, Talia's ambition, Chloe's crisis, and it's like a massive stress test on their friendship.
For sure.
And it raises that big question. When life gets this messy, do friendships bend or do they just break? You can feel the trust starting to erode, even before anyone says anything out loud.
Yeah, the silences get heavy, and the secrets keep piling up. Quincy, dealing with another pregnancy after the miscarriages, she keeps it completely secret, terrified to jinx it.
Understandable, given her history.
And then she gets the devastating news that she's lost 2 of the embryos, just 1 fighter left. Imagine carrying that fear and grief totally alone.
So isolating. And then, the irony. Jules gets pregnant too. Accidentally at 50 with Arthur.
Total shock for her. But she decides to keep the baby, Sienna Julia, and there's this incredibly poignant moment later.
The doctor's office.
Yeah, she sees a urine sample labeled Q blue and realizes Quincy is also pregnant. She thinks it's too huge to absorb alone. A tiny crack of shared experience opens up, even with everything else going on.
A hint of connection beneath the surface drama.
But the deceptions aren't over. Talia is caught up in this whole thing with her son Henry applying to this super elite school, Jackson Collegiate.
Ah, the school plotline.
Her husband Tom is pushing hard, but Talia feels increasingly weird about the whole elite environment, and especially about keeping the application secret from Chloe, whose kids might have applied to.
Right, that feels like a betrayal of shared parenting values almost.
And then Chloe finds the proof. Talia's hidden application essay, her reaction is just gut-wrenching. I wanted to collapse on the faded blue chenille bedspread and erase what I'd read.
Oof. That's the moment the hidden stuff bursts into the open.
Yeah, and suddenly it's not just about a job or a school application anymore. It's about trust, fundamental trust, being broken. How do you reconcile that version of your friend with the one you thought you knew?
It cuts deep, and you see the fallout. All these secrets, the resentment. It just builds and builds. Their annual trip to Maine just fizzles out abruptly.
A clear sign things are really wrong.
And Quincy's feeling during that time like a grapeless monkey, envy eating my life from the inside out. What a powerful image for how resentment can just consume you.
It really is. But sometimes, a major life event forces a shift.
A catalyst.
Yeah. For Jules, it's Sienna's birth. Holding her baby, she has this moment of clarity. I have everything I want, even amidst the chaos. That changes her perspective, pulls her away from the competitive edge, maybe.
The recalibration of what matters.
Which paves the way for this reunion. It's hesitant, awkward even at Jules' house after the baby arrives. Chloe's late. The hugs are tentative.
You can feel the weight of unspoken history.
Definitely. And then Talia's mother just cuts through it all, no nonsense. Faye, you let that Sims with the job in school come between you and a friend? Why?
Gotta love that directness. Sometimes you need that outside voice to just state the obvious.
Totally. And it kind of breaks the spell, allows them to reach this unspoken understanding. Friends get over things.
It's not about forgetting, maybe, but choosing connection over the hurt. They look back and think, I liked us then. I liked us better. There's a sadness there, a recognition of loss.
Yeah, but also a desire to rebuild something, even if it's different.
Which shows that resilience in friendship isn't about never messing up. It's about finding your way back after the mess. Endurance through imperfection.
So what's the takeaway for these women? They realize friendship can last through almost anything blast and last, as the book says, but not without consequences, not without those cavalier actions and assumptions.
Right. Their fantasy of being little old ladies sharing a house is gone. Reality is messier.
Their future looks different, but the connection is still there, just changed, transformed by everything they went through. Friendships evolve, they don't just stay static.
And zooming out, it tells us that even the tightest friendships need work. They need communication, and maybe most importantly, a willingness to forgive, or at least try to understand, the flaws, the messy parts of the people we care about.
Accepting that people change, they make mistakes, they have conflicting loyalties sometimes.
Exactly. Real friendship isn't about avoiding the bumps. It's about navigating them together, accepting the imperfections, and finding that connection again on the other side.
So as you're listening, what does this all mean for you? Thinking about Chloe, Talia, Quincy, and Jules, their careers, families, dreams, insecurities, it's really a mirror for our own relationships, isn't it?
Definitely.
Maybe it's a reminder that the friendships that really last aren't the perfect, harmonious ones. They're the ones forged in the gritty reality of shared lives, secrets, maybe a few necessary second chances.
Accepting the mess, celebrating the growth, and knowing that forgiveness, giving it and getting it is often what holds it all together.
So here's something to maybe chew on this week. What are the unspoken rules in your friendships? What happens when those rules get bent or even broken? And how do you manage that tricky balance between your own goals, your own ambitions, and the connections with the people who know you best?